Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Talk NFT, where we talk all things Web3. I'm Joe, co-host here, Brian McNutt. Super excited to have with us one of the project leads of one of the hottest projects in 2021, the Sevens, but it goes by the name of Goodfoot. Goodfoot, welcome.
Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are excited to talk to you about one of the most exciting projects that I heard of, actually. But we wanted to hear your point of view because a lot of things happened with this NFT project, and just give us a quick intro about yourself, and we could start even from before we jump down. You told us you're one of the original holders and mentors of the project, so tell us how you went from there to being one of the project leads.
Yeah, so it was awesome the way you said, one of the hottest projects of 2021. Now we're in 23, but I mean, completely fair and
Right, right.
and understandable. But yeah, we launched in September of 21. Huge gas war.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Gwei hit 900. Like, I mean, it was the Gwei
Wow.
was actually higher than the other deeds meant. Okay, so it was insane. Um, that was actually the first NFT that I attempted to mint. I did have a failed transaction, but
Yikes.
bought secondary and got into the community. Um, the founders at that time, we're addressing some of the issues with all of that, and me and some other community members just kind of got together and kind of started doing some marketing and things, and I just really fell in love with the sevens because I had a buddy that we would copy trade stocks forever, right? I mean, we've been doing that for years, and he got into NFTs, and then he told me about this one, and it was anime, and I was like, holy shit, like that's my stuff. So, fell in love with it. Just over the years, been communicating with the team and everything. Fast forward, won't go into a huge long story about that, but new ownership. Um,
Mm.
and I've been leading the sevens for the past year with my partners over at Mint. So Michael and VJ, and we can talk a little Mint later too. Um, but yeah, so been leading that and really working this past year on shoring a lot of things up. I mean, there's thousands of angles we can go into, right? We've got a mobile game that's launching. We've already got gameplay out there. It's not vaporware. It's actually our game. We've actually developed it. It's going on our blockchain. So we have our own L2 already
Mm.
developed that's
Interesting.
as fast as Solana. There's a ton of stuff. So honestly, I haven't done talks like this because we haven't really been ready to kind of let it all out there. But we are now, so the timing's perfect.
Yeah, I think one of the main questions a lot of people they may be privy of or not is a lot of NFT projects started off, with original ownership, but then the community
Hmm.
maybe saw a different vision, maybe saw a different path from the founders, and a lot of projects which got taken over by communities doing really well. Notably, Pudgy Penguins is
Hmm.
one of them, right? And I could
Yeah,
probably
for
probably
sure. Yeah,
probably name
Luca.
like
Yeah.
five others. And yeah, can you just tell us a little bit about that? What kind of happened there, and just that story.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, without going into a thousand details, because there's a lot, and probably some that I still don't even really know, to be quite clear. But it's traded hands a couple of times, so there has been some liquidity sucked out.
Mm,
Needless to say. But we have this past year, we've like really shored up our expenses and have like a really good run rate. So we did there was a lot of cleanup, so to
mm,
speak, to do in our first year, and we've done a lot of things with like we're being fully licensed as a DEX in El Salvador, set up all of our entities. There's a lot that you have to do being American based in crypto. And one of my partners is an attorney. He's an actual practicing attorney. His internship out of college was with the SEC on crypto,
wow.
right? So we don't operate in gray, right? That's not our thing. None of us are trying to go to jail, and honestly frustrated with a lot of the U.S. laws
Right.
because they don't allow us to operate the way that we want to be clean. So so we've did a lot of work in cleaning all of those things up so that we can operate correctly. So we've got some things that are based in the Philippines for our gaming side, et cetera. So a lot of corporate structure and things of that. Also, obviously developing the game, our 3D assets, all of those type of things. We've also created a platform that's going to be launching here this quarter called the Anime platform, which is a single streaming service. Right, we're not trying to beat Twitch or beat Facebook Live or anything like that. We want one place where you can come. We've developed our own motion capture technology that just allows you to use your camera phone or your computer for full body. Right now, it's just head, but head and face, and really good. We actually developed it with some genius kid in Berkeley, in California right
Oh,
now.
nice.
But so basically, you'll be able to log onto this platform, and you can be your seven, right?
Right.
And then you can from there stream it wherever you want. So we the sevens, along with Mint and the Outcast, really want this. What we're really pushing is this kind of be your sevens wherever you want to be. So with our merch line coming out, right, being able to do that, and be that anonymous person. There's a lot of people out there that want to YouTube, but don't want to
Sure.
be doxxed. And so
Yeah.
so the VTubing is growing huge in the APAC region. There's tons of metrics around these things. So we're really, and I know I'm kind of flying everywhere here, so just pause me if you need to. But there really is a lot of crap going on. That really 2023 was all about developing all of these platforms, so that we have these products, and what we want to be able to do. So our parent company Mint, which I'm a part of as well, is developing these platforms because there's all of these founders, communities, NFT projects out there that had a cool thing, have a good community, but the guys aren't operators. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
DAOs are great, and the idea of those are awesome, but there's a lot of people that just because they have some money, you don't necessarily want them directing your business. I mean, or else everyone would do it. So allowing these communities to be able to kind of have a turnkey solution to use their IP, and kind of be their IP is something that we want to do as kind of one offshoot of our business. And then that just feeds into the sevens, which the sevens in particular, we want to be a lifestyle brand, centered around manga and anime. And, we've got our 4 chapters of manga that have come out now on the Voice Me platform. And chapter 5 comes out tomorrow, actually.
Nice. I love what you're doing here with the sevens, and like you're leveraging your IP, and Joe noted like what kind of Pudgy Penguins and Luca have done. And it looks like, I love to hear like, the past year you kind of been building your IP, building your game plan to, launch a game, merch. It sounds like a token, but just coming back a little bit to the actual collection. Can you give us a breakdown? I know it's like a collection of 7,000 PFPs, but can you dive a little deeper into like the lore and the story behind the sevens?
Yeah. So what's really interesting is so Jan's our original artist who's still around. He grew up in the 80s in California, loved manga, and this collection really was his ode to everything that he loves. So we have all these traits in there that like you can look at, and obviously a straw hat, Luffy, right? But he did all of these nuanced things that we could never get DMCA'd for or anything like that, but they're just like homages, like the space fork, right?
Yeah.
You look at that and you're like, if you've ever seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, then you're like, okay, I know that, from the ending scenes. There's a banana taped to a t-shirt, right? And at that time, that was when that really went down at Art Basel,
Right.
the banana selling. So there's all these, and bananas and monkeys were a big influence, not because of Bored Ape, because of the culture then, right? You'd ape into things and
Yeah.
all of that. And I just think Jan's nailed it, right? He just nailed it on a lot of different things. Um, since then, we've done a couple of iterations of that same artwork. So we're actually making those Genesis containers via 6551 of different sets of art for that the holders get. And then we have a gasless system backend that we've built. So if you like go through Genesis right now, you'll see some and they look super old school. And you'll see some and you're like, whoa, that has more detail, a different affect. Well, those are users that have decided to revamp. We call that the revamp, right?
Nice.
We've got another one that's coming out for that's more mangaized, I guess you could say. And so we're going to continue to do that with all of our collections, is create new art annually that holders have access to and can really show their 7 how they want it to be. Maybe one year we do a pixelated version, just whatever it is. It's not really to chase a meta. And we're not trying to make our art better or, I know with like D-Gods and, just joking around, but like, this is the downgrade, this is the upgrade, blah, blah, blah. Like I have a different artist do it every time, and every single artist is badass. And I'm not discounting anything that they've done. It's all off of, Jan's original vision. But yeah, so 7,000 in that. We've got the Eve collection. So Jan's did not feel comfortable drawing the female collection without a female. So we actually had the community decided to bring in another artist, Ninja Cat, who's obviously a female, and then Renvelian, and so they created the Eve collection, and then we have the companions as well, which are the animals, which in our lore, those are actually AIs.
Nice.
That are, when you get a companion, it's tied to you. So in our manga, in our story, we have characters which are derived from our collection. Okay, so we took a generative collection, and then how do you turn those into characters when you have all of these combinations, right? Well, skin tone, hair color, and tattoo are the 3 things that can make a character within our story. So, if you go to our website, which is actually being redone right now too, you'll be able to see what we call the survivors. So, do you want me to do a little bit of deep lore of the story?
Yeah, that would be great. Love to hear it.
Okay, so the basis of all of this is 1981 giant earthquake, right? Like catastrophic, to where it like submerges basically 90% of land masses around the world. Okay,
Waterworld.
So and there's kind of like Waterworld. With that, the 7 story takes place in New Los Angeles. Okay, and it's just LA, right? But basically throughout this, there's these people, the order that take control of fiat and all of those things. And the 7s are kind of that rebel army going back against it. So when I wrote the story, I really wanted it to be, that's another thing. When I came on, I wrote the story for the 7s with another writer, of course. Not a professional writer, but I wanted to make a story that really was ours as the 7s. And so it's this combating of crypto, fiat, and all of these things. And so you have the characters, and then you have their AIs, and that's going to turn into, the long range vision is obviously an anime, but so like our powers would be really kind of like hacking, so to speak. But if you could envision, right, you're in a fight in a street, and anything that has electricity in it, you can move with the help of your AR. So you bend a telephone pole down and smack a guy, and turn a hotwire car remotely and slam it into him. Right? Those are the types of fight scenes and kind of power ups, I guess you could say, from an anime standpoint, that we're going to have in the future. But what we're doing with the manga, I truly, truly believe in stories, and stories suck if the characters suck. And you can have great characters and a crappy story, but you cannot have a great story with crappy characters. So we're putting a lot of work into those characters, and I could talk for hours on that because that's been a big piece that I've been involved in. But yeah, it's been really fun creating the manga with the artists and everything, and then incorporating little Easter eggs of community members, that have been super involved and everything. We're gonna have a printed version. We're releasing chapters every 2 weeks. Once we get to chapter 7, we're gonna take a pause, and there's gonna be a printed version of that manga that's coming out. And one of our buddies is gonna be distributing that around San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's talked to a couple shops. And
I'm in San Francisco, so I was just curious.
Yeah. So one of your buddies is going to be doing that for us.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff.
Wow. Well, my hats off to you, because you guys have been doing stuff like more so than projects that's been around for years, actually. And how do you kind of balance that, because you're building a brand on top of Web3, which is like, a moving bullet in itself, right? And it seems like you I don't know if it's a small or big fund that you say you have a lot of runway, you've implemented such advanced technology. I mean, you guys are doing manga, physical, probably in the future, tokens, merchandise, like you said, 6551. I mean, that's like, the backpack thing. There's so much going on, and you guys, what's the word I'm trying to put it? But you got like a Swiss Army knife. You guys are doing so much, and that's impressive, and that you guys are really doing that.
So the way that we do that is really divide and conquer. So I've got a really amazing team, and when Mint got involved, I've got Michael on the legal side, right, that helps with all of that corporate infrastructure, things of that nature. We've got Knight, who is an absolute contract genius and who created the Manya blockchain. So the L2 that we have, that was running, I think we were running at like 6,500 TPS before he implemented reinforced concrete, which is it's another hashing method. That's like, so like if you look at what's it called? What's the Polygon, right? They're on Poseidon is their hash rate method. If they switch that, they'd have to take their block down to do that, do months of development. Concrete pavement's a better hashing method. All these things that I've learned along the way, right? I'm not a crypto blockchain expert, per se. Then we've got VJ, who was a founder at Bethesda Softworks, has released 85 game titles, over 2 billion in revenue. Games such as Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings Online. I mean, he was the VP of game development at Universal, right? So we kind of have this all-star squad that divides. And then we have all of these other people, like on my team. I've got Yaz, William, Javi, Kevin, our artist, right? All of these people. We really divide and conquer. And so people are in charge of different things. My piece is the sevens, right? So the story writing, the branding with Yaz, the merch, all of those things are really the piece that I'm mostly involved with. And I will tell you, it's been very frustrating building all of this stuff and it not being visible. And so it feels it's difficult for me because I came from the community and I want the community to be like, oh, this is awesome. And we have a super supportive community for sure. But I always want things faster. And in development, it doesn't work that way. Like, I could give you horror stories about this website that I told you about that's going to be this revamped website. It's like the simplest thing on my list, and it's been the most challenging for some reason. So just really divide and conquer is the way, and with time. And we've been ramping up. So like our 3D modeling, right? Like we have 9 modelers now. So we're able to take other NFT projects IP and model them and give them full VRMs so that they can enable that for their community, give them a platform that they can brand their own and everything. All of those things are going to feed our IPs. And then that goes to the whole, I mean, we haven't even gotten into the Andromeda metaverse and all that fun stuff. So it is a lot, and that was my original impression. I'll be honest. When Mint took over, that was my thing. I was like, I'm wanting to build a brand, with awesome anime, etc. And then they had all of these other things that they were trying to accomplish, and I was just like, how in the hell is this? It's too much. Well, they've shown me that they actually can. With seeing the gameplay and playing it on the Android now. I mean, VJ's talking right now with Nintendo, so like we're going to have developer credentials on Nintendo, so you'll be able to play our game on the Switch.
Nice.
Like those types of relationships and stuff. I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't even dream of it.
You got me with the call out with the Nintendo Switch. For Christmas, my kids got a Nintendo Switch, and I haven't played video games in a while, but you can't get that thing out of my hands right now. They're like, "Daddy, can I play?" I'm like, "Listen, Daddy's gonna set a record on Mario Kart right here, so it'll be your time later." So awesome to hear that you're getting developer credentials.
Yeah, don't get Breath of the Wild if you ever want to put it down again, because if you're a Zelda fan, it's basically take everything from your childhood and Zelda and make it open world with unbelievably well thought out mechanics, interactions, etc. Now they've got a new one. So Breath of the Wild, you've got to go in order. You know what I mean? But I forget, Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is the new one. Now they have all this physics stuff where you can like create machines. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I just wrote it down. Breath of the Wild. There's my weekend right there. So appreciate that.
Your host. Your host.
You know what's so crazy about the Switch and its technology overall? It's just so easy to buy games or like all of these like platforms. I'm like, oh, someone's like, there's a new game out. You go into the App Store, you buy it, boom, right there, and you're playing it. So, that's a lot of fun. Hey, just going back, what was the name of the layer 2 blockchain that you're developing? And second part of that question is, I'd imagine your original collection, the PFPs will stay on the Ethereum blockchain, but you're going to use the layer 2 for all the gaming mechanics?
Correct. Yeah, it's called Manya, Malaya. Malaya.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd imagine, just from like a macro question, you've seen a lot of, the recent news with Solana and Say and all these blockchains kind of going off when myself as well always gravitated towards Ethereum NFTs as the gold standard. Now we're seeing a lot of these other blockchains kind of, take off. And it makes a lot of sense to me as well, especially a layer 2 when you're gaming and doing these microtransactions. You need a layer 2, but any other developments in the future that you're thinking through and how the meta is going to help with that?
Yeah. So, we would never just switch chains to kind of chase the meta, right? I mean, Ethereum is where we started. It's where we are. We've talked about, even with Malaya, we could actually make it that to where it's interoperable with Sol right now. But honestly, Knight is not super happy with the security side of Sol just yet. And so if something happened with Sol, it would actually affect the Ethereum side on Malaya as well. So we've actually discussed these things internally. I mean, I have rare sats, right? Like I have thought long about what would sevens be on Bitcoin, right? And I have rare sats that we can utilize for that. But I don't want to do it as a money grab. There needs to be a reason for us to do it. And I do think, I mean, the future is definitely cross blockchain. Like I heard a guy, this guy said it once perfectly in a space one time. And he was basically like, Ethereum's a car, Solana's a boat, Bitcoin's an airplane, right? You're never going to convince me to use a plane to go to my next door neighbor's house. I'm going to walk, right? Yeah. You're never going to convince me. All these blockchains do different things, and they all have very unique and good purposes. And so I think that interoperability is really what's going to really make scale. And I hate saying words like onboard and things of that nature. But just like we're using this right now, I don't care. This is what Squadcast. I don't care what this is. I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. You're recording me. We're having this. I don't care that this uses HTTPS or any of the background stuff. And I think blockchain needs to be that way. We get a little too tribal at times, of our blockchains. I mean, like look at Chainlink. Chainlink is doing some awesome things. So yeah, we definitely look at other chains, and if it ever makes sense, then certainly we'll adopt and do things that make it easier for our users, our communities, our growth, etc. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna steal that analogy. That's a really, really good one that I've never heard of.
and I butchered it. it.
No,
the way
it was great.
He said it was bananas. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wrote it down. I wrote it down. It was good. I'm never taking a plane to my neighbor's house.
Yeah. I want to say it's like at it's Donnie on X.
Okay.
And he's just a regular dude, not huge influencer, but just a really, really smart guy.
Well, I'm gonna take his analogy.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah. I'm gonna take his analogy and spin it in the favor of the sevens, and I believe that there are so many NFT projects that focus on anime, but to his point with his analogy, I mean, anime is such a big industry, right? We have billion-dollar characters within it. Like you said, Luffy with One Piece, and we got Naruto and I mean, every single IP is $1 billion, and there's enough opportunity for every NFT project focused on Japanese anime to become successful. And so my question to you is, like, how do you approach the balance between accessibility and exclusivity? And I'll give an example. Like Pudgy Penguin seemed like they wanted to go onboard the masses, and they did that. Walmart, Amazon, and because of that, their exclusive, community, they're at a 12 Ethereum floor right now, which is like absolutely insane. They're probably going to catch up to like the apes maybe. And that's kind of what their focus is. Like that's driving their bottom line, which is what I'm seeing. What are your guys' focus going to be? What's like success in 2024? How are you going to meet your bottom line, and if that needs to happen in 2024 to keep the sevens going and also to make your community happy? Because that seems to be like an interesting balance.
Yeah. So we actually just with our treasury, and it's all online. It's all on the blockchain. But we do at our run rate, we have over a year. So we have over past 2024. And like I said, we've gotten lean and mean in 23. Like it really, it was painful for me, to kind of be a part of that. That's not really my thing in managing in that aspect, but I've got really good partners that are really strong on that side. Success from a 7 standpoint for me is not a 24 number. Success for me, and this is a stupid goal, okay, but I do well on my own, and the reason that I want to leave what I'm doing to do this is because I'm passionate about it. My goal is for my kids, my grandkids, to watch the sevens on Netflix, okay? So that's what success looks like for me. So I'm a long-term guy. I know that holders may hear that and go, oh, fuck you, right? Like that does nothing for my floor price today. I totally get that. But anyone that knows me and you can ask, that legitimately is my goal. For 24, I really, what would be just like a screaming success for me would be, we get out all 15 chapters, which that's going to happen. That's kind of our first run. I would love to get some investment so that we could do a pilot episode. We actually are engaged in a number of conversations, this month and going forward with other opportunities. My goal would be to bring the sevens back to prominence and to the reality of the sevens is it was super hot in 21, but it was short lived just because of FUD and things of that nature. And there's so many other opportunities. I think our story sets up so amazing for true anime, right? Of a real struggle,
right?
Do the right things, kick ass, and overcome. So as long as by the end of the year, by the end of next month, whenever it may be, that our holders are happy that we're doing the right things and that we are growing the brand. Some key partnerships I think would be great with different clothing companies and stuff. I mean, I think our trait merch would just knock the doors off a ton of people. Which we're actively working on right now. I haven't done my kind of goal session for this year yet. I typically do it after January. I know that kind of seems different for everybody, but because everyone kind of does it right before the end of the year or the beginning, I kind of like to see how things shake out for the first couple of weeks and then do that. And we're actually in the process of that right now. We already have our internal kind of scheduling and planning that we're going to do. But really just to bring us back to prominence and for people to know that we're not dead. To grow Twitter's not my number one metric or anything, but I would love us to grow those numbers, grow on TikTok, especially. I think that's an area we haven't played in. And then now with my artists doing animations, there's going to be a whole healthy amount of sevens gifts and things of that nature that will be getting out. But really just to get visibility. This year for me, we did a lot of development. We need to execute now in Q1 to get it out to market. And we need to do a really good job of marketing that and getting eyes on it. And I think we have plans for that. We haven't. That's been probably our community's biggest gripe over the past year is marketing. And it's probably been their biggest gripe forever would be marketing. Now we have products, right? We've got a printed manga. We have VRMs. We have these platforms and all of these things. And so really marketing those and getting eyes on it.
I was just going to put my 2 cents in. Everything you're saying really makes a lot of sense to me. And to reiterate what I said earlier, I love how you took, you didn't pack it up and go home. You took a couple years to continue building your project, building up the hype and leveraging your IP. And we talk about this a lot on our show, how a lot of PFP projects need to develop past just being, a digital identity, incorporating games. If a token makes sense, and it sounds like you're on the way to make a token, and you have a legal team that worked with the SEC. Yep. So seems like your token would be one that would be very interesting from a compliance standpoint. So just love kind of the whole idea that you're trying to think outside the box. This isn't like, hey, we're going to chase the new meta. We're going to do these cross-chain swaps. We're going to do all this to catch the eye of everyone right now. No, you have a long-term plan, and you're going to leverage the IP from the original Genesis holders. And I'm sure your community really appreciates that.
Yeah, I think that they certainly will. Now that they're seeing the manga and they're actually seeing the characters in that, I think that'll make a difference, but it's got to be a good story, right? And the characters got to be good, and so we've put a lot of effort into that. So it's really fun to see that start to come out now, and the community has been really, really receptive to it. We've got a great partner in Voice Me that we're doing some really cool things with, and they've been good to work with. So yeah, just doing everything on like a shoestring budget. Like I think what we've done with what we have has been pretty good. If we got some infusion of capital, I think it'd be pretty fun to watch, because we've got we don't take, like, I'm the only person on our team that takes a salary, and I either buy sevens with it or spend money on sevens. Like, you can go to my wallet. In 2 years, I took $100 off of the blockchain because my wife has been telling me it's fake internet money. And so I did it just to prove to her. Like, she saw this balance, and I did the whole thing and took 100 off. But I mean, I've been putting, my money where my mouth is, and so is our team. And I think long term, if we can deliver, I mean, we have to execute. It's not, oh, we're the good guys, so we're going to win, right? That's bullshit. I understand that that's not what's going to make it happen. But I think if we get eyes on people and people get to really see us and see what we're about, meet our community, see our IP, learn our lore, see the things that we've developed, there's got to be an appetite for something real in this space, because we see a lot of it that we all know is jokes. And I love traders too, right? Like I'm friends with some like degen traders. I'm not a trader. I would suck at it. I'm a collector, right? So I just come from a different perspective on that side. But yeah, 24 is going to be fun.
Yeah, to your point, absolutely. The more in real life experiences, in my opinion, does wonders not only for your community but for the wives. I think all of our wives are finally curious.
Yeah.
What do you really have a career here, or do you just run off to a second hobby? So, but honestly, I think presence, maybe even at smaller Comic-Con events or things like that,
absolutely
would do a lot. So I'm excited to see you guys roll out your roadmap that you have for 2024. And it seems like you have so much in the bag already that your community should be excited about. I'm excited to see it myself because I'm a huge anime fan.
Good. Well,
yeah,
check out the manga, and like, for real, just pure honest feedback, So I love it.
For sure. Yeah, we would love to have you back because it seems like you guys move so quickly as Web3. I imagine we have a different conversation just a few weeks from now of what you guys are working on that you're excited about.
Yeah. No, be glad to come back anytime.
Great.
I think into this queue should be, hopefully, that's the plan. And so, you want to take a look and, hey, can they execute? I think that's a good litmus test.
Absolutely. Where's the best place to connect with you, connect with the Sevens?
Yeah, so the Sevens is at the7s_7 on X. We've got links to the Discord and everything there. I am at Goodfoot Live. So my first one got rugged in a space, and they didn't give me access to it for like 6 months. And so I started a new one, and then I just didn't want to go back. So that's my main. www.the7sofficial.com is our website. I don't love it right now because I love the one that we're working on. So once we have all of that stuff hooked up, take a look at that in a couple of weeks. But yeah.
Amazing. Well, it's been amazing having you on. I hope you guys absolutely crush it. Even throughout the entire year of 2024.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, and great convo.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks again.